Mekelle, the capital city of the Tigray region in northern Ethiopia, thousands of internally displaced people have arrived here in the last 3 months. They are fleeing a war between government troops, Eritrean forces and local militias on one side, and the Tigray People's Liberation Front on the other. The conflict has devastated the local population. Hundreds have been killed in massacres, thousands have fled, and countless women and girls have been violently raped. I am one of the first foreign journalists to reach Tigray. At Mekelle's Eider hospital, doctors are overwhelmed by the number of rape victims seeking help. They say rape is being used as a deliberate weapon in this war. Now you're seeing many cases of rape
daily
in relation to the war.
Yeah, where it's a dramatic increase in the number of cases. Almost all of them, they tell you that they are raped by soldiers.
Victims of rape go to the Center for Women and Children within the hospital. Sister Mulu is the first point of contact. Since the war, how many patients have you seen roughly?
Roughly 260.
260?
Yes.
In this clinic alone?
Yes, okay. There is a war till now.
Now?
They are not knowing the person who raped, but it's as a group. They get many diseases. They acquire many diseases like HIV, like hepatitis, like STI.
The women who reach the center often have serious physical wounds. A warning, the stories that you are about to hear are incredibly distressing. Rumainesh's story is recorded, medical examinations will be done, and she's given an initial counseling session. But this is one of the only hospitals still open in this region. The charity MSF estimates that just over 10% are functioning normally. The other have been destroyed in this war.
There is no transportation. They can buy themselves to work. After 3 days, after 4 days, after a week, they become very angry. They haven't have any clothes. They are migrants. They haven't have any financial. They haven't any clothes. Their clothes are disorganized by the sharp materials, by knife, by anything when they are raped the persons. They cry with them in this center. They become damaged our minds. This is not, this is heavy to understand.
Nobody feels safe, even in this hospital, which is guarded by government forces. 2 weeks ago, a medical student was raped by soldiers in this compound as she walked from the library to her classroom. Before the war, the police had the power to bring perpetrators to justice, but the local administration has been disbanded since the conflict began. Now, the Tigray region is under a state of emergency, and a coalition made up of Ethiopian troops, Eritrean soldiers and local militias know that they have the ultimate power. Some are accused of being on a revenge mission.
There is no police service, there is no court. Every person is as you do as you want by now.
The Tigray People's Liberation Front, or TPLF, ruled Ethiopia for 27 years. They too committed crimes against other communities in the country. Once a powerful group, they are now hiding in the mountains, unable to protect their population, and the people here feel helpless. What's happening to them, especially to the women of Tigray? So she came here around 9 days ago?
Yeah.
So rape cases are still coming, or rape victims are still coming?
Yeah, you can get them in the war, you can get them wherever you like, but rape cases are always coming. The special thing about this case is this client is, she was already pregnant, and on top of that she was raped, and she was also hit by that gun, so she has sustained almost 3 injuries, being pregnant with around 20 weeks of gestational age, and raped. Probably from her history that she told us, from her history, she was raped for 3 days, being locked in a house by one of the soldiers, and she came to us bleeding.
This 19-year-old girl was working as a waitress and was stopped by soldiers on her way home.
أبي وسيدك نبت جزاتي دي أب جزاتيكي أبتو ترى روسم سولهم دي أبتو مسوي تقادي ويسنلي وخودي لها نعزازات
أو دفرني أراك مع التغني كأو مسكان فوق أجرح حد سواسي نودك أجرح حد سواسي قفتنا بالوبري كأو واتي أنا
واتي خاف ملي تخيا
بصوت أخاو بقلا شوي إنما تنا بقلا شوي إنما تنا
كتوات مسؤول خدي
دم مسفسن أو دول لحدا
تايلو
مع صديل.
When he realized that she is bleeding, he called another soldier and he ordered him to take her and throw her on the road.
Many of the victims are too traumatized to go back to their families. They fear the attackers will go after them. A refuge away from the hospital is for those women who have lost everything, who cannot return home. We're now heading to a safe house where there are around 40 women, all of them victims of rape. It's in a hidden location, and we were advised to travel separately in case we were being followed. One shocking story that I kept on hearing was that of a woman in the safe house.
شعبي أسرائيل نمبر مجمرة لبساتشو يشعبي أسمون أنا قاعداتشو إنت لبساتشو إنت أبي محمد تريه لبس ناتشو قفترو قبو ويبرمنا أبو الناس نبر سدست سيتشت نبر وسلاسة ولدوشن أي قبو ونشنو فايتورتشو كذا ولدوشن لبساتشو ولدك مرتاستن بقولت أنا لا أمستان لا أمستان ሲደፍር ገና ደግሞ ፎቶ እያነሳች ጫወትብን ነው ማታ እዚህ ካድራችሁ ገዳቻለ አንድ ልጅ አገረድ ነበር የደፈራት.
This was the first time she was raped. She managed to escape and get help, but when she went home she was raped again. Whilst trying to flee with her 12-year-old son, they and other women get caught again.
ዝናታቻስ ወረዱና መርፌያ እኔ ከነልጄ እናዛን ሁሉ መርፌ ተወጋ ላስቀጣ ረቆታችን አጥቶ ይሄ ታስሮ እንደዚህ አንድ ዛፍ ላይ እና ድንጋይ ላይ ታስረ እንደዚህ በቃ ይሄኛው ያይሰራም ይወጅና ዱላም ተደበደብ መርፌም ተደምዘና አሰርቀን ሙሉ በራጫ የሬሳዎች አሉ ማት የሞቱ ሰው አለ ጅባት ሳበር አሞራ ጠጎ በሬሳው ላይ ነው የሚረማመደው ይጣጣሉ ልክ ጉንኛት ካረጉ እንዲወራ በደሞ ነው አትሰማለኝ ወደ ልጅ አፎመዛዝራል ወደ ህፃኑ ልጅ በሶስት ቀን በኋላ እርጉዟን ኦፕሬሽን ነበር እንደደች እሷ ስታርፍ ልጇ ሚስጨው እሱንም በጥይት ወጥቶበት ተሰነጣል ሱባ
Sorry.
Abiye, kitabi jadku. Pasal kenyan jadku. Udah ya pasal ini. Adarku. Ini kasi.
12 years her son killed in front of her. She crying when she remember him, her child, she crying. She is not stable. This is very painful service to us. How can I clarify it?
For every woman who manages to get help, there are 20 or 30 more she talks about who haven't been able to make it to a safe place. The innocent victims of a war who feel abandoned not just by their country, but by the international community.
That report produced by Jamal Osman and Amir Amane Kiaro, Elias Tefaye and Daniel Araye. And if you've been affected by the issues in this report, you can go to channel4.com/support.
Tonight, in a statement, the Ethiopian embassy has said that they remain deeply concerned by allegations of the use of rape as an instrument of war. The government also maintains a zero-tolerance policy towards rape and sexual violence. It goes on. The government of Ethiopia has taken concrete steps to address any human rights abuses that have occurred within the context of the conflict triggered by the TPLF, and also welcomes international assistance to undertake further investigations and welcomes the possibility for collaboration on potential joint investigations with relevant human rights bodies. That was their statement. Now, this terrible conflict has inevitably led to a refugee exodus. We're joined now from the Sudan-Ethiopia border by CNN senior international correspondent Nema El-Bagir. Nema, you've also heard, I wonder if you've also heard the kind of accounts that we saw in Jamal's report, and are people still fleeing across the border?
We've certainly heard similar stories with regards to the perpetrators. This allegation that Eritrean soldiers, Amhara militia, the Fanu, also another Amhara militia have been involved with this. And also the sense that the women have that this is very, very intentional, that the pathology behind this isn't about rape as a tragic consequence of war. Definitely that they feel this is about rape as a weapon of war. One of the women whose stories was relayed to us, because even here in Sudan, Matt, women are very, very afraid. This was relayed to us through a doctor, said that when she was raped repeatedly by Ethiopian soldiers, she says she was told that her blood was being purified, that she was being Amharized. The Amhara, of course, another ethnic group involved in that conflict in Ethiopia. And for those who are familiar with what happened in the former Yugoslavia, with what happened in Darfur, which I covered, that has chilling overtones, that just a very similar feeling that these women aren't just part of a conflict to push the Tigrayans off the land. This is about erasing Tigray and the Tigrayan identity and the Tigrayan bloodline, which is one of the hallmarks of genocide. The sadness is that those stories are now even being stifled from reaching the world through one of the last safe havens, which was the passageways through here to Sudan. Back in December and November, thousands of refugees made their way here. A couple of days ago, we were told 12 made it. Today, 5 to 6. And we understand, not just from the refugees, but also from contacts within the Sudanese military, that is because there is a concerted effort by the Ethiopian military to block these refugees from safety and to keep their stories the other side hidden away in Tigray, Matt.